What is up, guys? Welcome back to the next part in this WordPress series, where today we're going to be talking about pre-SEO, not necessarily doing all the proper SEO on your WordPress site, but instead what you want to do prior to launching your site. And not a lot of people talk about this or really even discuss it when they're talking about creating a WordPress site. So let me just take you through a quick example of what most people do when they install a WordPress site. They go out there and they say that they know enough to buy their own server. So they go and they find a service, and they get their domain name, and then say the server helps them install their WordPress, right? They put like a basic WordPress on there, and it looks like this, right? This is what you get by default. And this actually isn't even what you get by default. We actually changed this already in the previous videos, but by default, you'd have that thing that says this is your example post and all that. Here's a quick question for you. If you don't tell Google not to index your site by using the privacy, or I'm trying to remember where that specifically was, but where it tells you, stop search engines from indexing this site, and Google decides to go ahead and index you. Say that you tell yourself, well, I have the site installed and I'll work on it this week and I'll get it done. Say it takes you 2 weeks, and Google crawls and finds you. You know what Google's going to index? Do you have any idea what they're going to index? They're going to index whatever's on your current homepage and whatever your description, your title is. That's the first problem you're going to run into. The second problem you're going to run into is an issue called canonicalized URLs. And this is something most people have no idea about. Canonicalized URLs is Google's search engine, and I just brought you to this support page where somebody asked, where it's a support page about this exact issue. If your site has multiple accessible pages, I bet you didn't even know that's a thing. You can actually have your website accessed from a www version and a non-www version. This is when somebody just types in like Bob Belfort's flowers.com or www.bobsbelfortflowers.com. Google can actually see these as different websites, believe it or not, even though they're the same. So one thing that you want to take care of before you get indexed or before you push out there as well is to use SEO plugins to canonicalize your URLs and determine what version of your site you're going to have. This is pretty important too. And so the main thing I wanted to cover as well, or another topic I wanted to cover on the first issue I was talking about, was if you're getting pre-indexed and you haven't determined exactly how you want to set up, let me direct your attention to how long it takes Google to recrawl your site to update their search engine. Between 4 days and 4 weeks. That's, if you haven't had a daily dose of whiplash, there it is for you. Between 4 days and 4 weeks. That is a huge range. That's ridiculous. That's a massively giant range. That's impossible to determine when your site's going to get reindexed. So if you get indexed as this, and then this week you update it all, it could take Google 4 weeks to find your site and to actually upgrade your site or to update what it looks like in the search results when somebody comes down and looks in the results. So otherwise it's just going to say, by default how it said, this is another WordPress site and all that. It will actually say that right here. And on top of that, Google may in fact index 2 different versions of your site. So this is why I chose to teach this quick course on the local host versus building it on an actual web server, because you can control all that. When the site's built on a local host set up through XAMPP, it's not accessible to search engines. It's only accessible to you. Nobody can get to this site but you. And so you can make all your changes, do all your upgrades, do all your page building and all your settings and all your plugins before anybody even has a chance to see it and Google ever has a chance to look at it. So when you launch this site complete, guess what Google indexes first thing? Your completed website, not whatever trash you have by default on your WordPress that installs all the default basic stuff. And so you're going to wind up on wherever, it reminds me of a funny joke a guy told me one time at a convention where he said, and I can't remember who was the first person to say it, but the guy said like this: if you were a murderer and you were going to hide, what was the best place you would hide the body? And he said, page 2 of Google search results, right? Because nobody's ever going to go there. And what's going to happen if you launch a site like this is it's going to get it's swim with the fishes, right? It's like 400 levels down and nobody's ever going to find it, and it will never come up, or it will take a very long time at a minimum to even be properly looked at. So I just wanted to make a video to talk about that. And so just a little ahead of time here, that's why we're building on the local host, and that's why we're doing the things that we're doing. But in order to take care of a lot of these SEO issues like consolidated URLs and all that, it's actually going to be a plugin, and I'm just going to install it now. We may not configure it now, but I am going to at least install it and let you know what 2 options you're looking at. So you have 2 options when you're looking at SEO. You have all-in-one SEO, which is a tried and true, which by the way, I'm just in the plugins menu and I just went to add new and typed in all-in-one SEO. And this all still works from your local host. It acts like a regular WordPress site with the exception that nobody can see it but you. So you're really going to have two major choices here. And this is what most everybody's going to tell you. They're either going to say, go with all-in-one SEO pack or go with Yoast. And Yoast has way more users. It's like at 5 million versus 2 million for all-in-one SEO. And I'm probably going to make a video on one versus the other and what features are better in each one. Maybe even like a mini series, 10-minute each mini series about it or about using each one. But in this video, just for the sake of it, I'm actually, believe it or not, more familiar with all-in-one SEO pack because I've used it for a very long time. So I'm just going to install that. And so if you just hit install, it will go. And it's pretty quick. It just depends. Sometimes these plugins are huge, but I don't think all-in-one SEO pack's very big. And when we get into plugins, we'll talk a little more about the specifics of plugins and why you want to have only the ones that you really need because a lot will actually, in fact, slow down your website. So here's the all-in-one SEO pack. Now, when you add new plugins, they actually, sometimes they'll appear under tools, it'll add a new link, or under settings, it'll add a new link, or wherever. Sometimes it's under appearance. In this case, all-in-one SEO always comes in below the dashboard. It has its own link. And the first thing, for some reason, when you first create it now, the first thing it tries to do is get you to upgrade to the paid version, but if you just click it the first time and then come back, it recreates. It actually has its menu drop out. So the only reason I was even downloading this was to show you that the very first option in all-in-one SEO is canonical URLs. That it will automatically tell Google that, hey, we're using this version only, so don't index anything else. So it takes care of that issue for you. But if you didn't know this and you had just created a WordPress website and you created it on some live server somewhere, so this is now sitting on there on Bob Belfort's Flowers, and it's there for a week because you're getting your way around to working on it. That's just a bad way to go about it. And so this video was just kind of a quick help on this. Is you kind of want to avoid these issues and you want to build your site right from the get-go, and you don't want to have to undo issues that you did in the beginning, especially when the window of time to fix it is A, outside of your control, and B, is like the range is nuts. It's like, how are you supposed to make any heads or tails of this? Like, well, it could be 4 days or it could be 4 weeks or more. I mean, you can read right here, they say this range, however, is fairly broad and has been challenged by those who claim to have been indexed in less than 4 days. Yeah, most sites do not get indexed in 4 days, and even if they have issues, it takes way longer than 4 days to fix it, or for Google to recrawl you and to re-change in their search engine. Even if you try to push them to do it through like the search console or something like that, still takes forever for them to recrawl you and fix your site. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I just wanted to go over putting in all-in-one SEO pack. We are going to probably be configuring our little example site on all-in-one SEO, and then like I said, I'll probably make another video on Yoast and the differences, and then you can kind of be the judge of what you want to do at that point. This tutorial series is meant just to help you get your feet wet with WordPress and get into actually creating a site from your local host, and like I said in the beginning, taking it to a public place so that for somebody who's never done this can just get a basic understanding of, okay, here's how it works. So that's a little bit of pre-SEO work that you would do before, and that's why I'm choosing to show you to do it on the local host. And that was a little bit about canonicalized URL penalties, as well as Google's insane recrawl time. And by the way, one thing that just popped up since we were here, remember when I said plugins will add their own information to the dashboard? Well, there's one right there, and then in the screen options it will add its own, so we can get rid of that if we want, or we can leave it in. That doesn't really matter. I'll just leave it in just to show you that it's there. But so I think that's going to wrap it up for this little tutorial. In the next one, I think we're going to be talking about themes. We're going to get into playing around and installing a few base themes and trying to check out the differences and kind of showing you how it edits the front end and how it changes the appearance menu and the dropouts and all that. So go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.